Well, hi guys, welcome, and who dat? I'm Joe. Thanks for tuning in to Rosenfield 10, where I cover our beloved Bless You Boys in black and gold, the New Orleans Saints. And today, not really a review or reaction of this past game, where our division rival Tampa Bay Buccaneers came into the Caesars Superdome and whipped the Saints' final score 23-3. Yeah, this is a post-game video, but I'm not breaking everything down with stats. I'll show you the little box score here. And, the Saints were kind of competitive as far as the score goes. Ends the first half 7-3. We're only down by 4 points after the first half is over, but yet we'd only run the ball 6 times. I'm not here to say our running game couldn't get it going. We didn't try enough. Now, this is another complaint about the head coach, and the same thing from the last game. My biggest complaint was about the head coach. Now he's trying to figure things out. What are we really good at? I don't know. What does he really want to do? How can he do whatever it is he wants to do with what he's got to work with? Then he's got young parts, old parts. He's trying to figure out who can do what. You put Devon Vele in the game at wide receiver, and your play calling for those routes kind of changes. Can't run slants with Rashid and Olave when neither one of them know how to get yards after the catch. Neither one of them are big enough to make contested catches. You put Vele in there, it seems pretty obvious. Run the slant until they stop it. That's what I say. So it's just one of them things. I can fault Kellen Moore for doing a bad job, but at the same time, everything seems experimental this year. Just trying to figure it out. So I'm not ready to fire the guy or anything like that. But this is the second game in a row where we've run the ball less than 17 times in total, and you're not really out of it for the majority of the game. Now, in this game, the defense struts while the offense shucks. We decided to put in Tyler Shuck, and a little bit into the third quarter, we decided let's go ahead and put Shuck in. The coach says it was for a spark. I noticed the defense played a lot worse in the second half. I don't know if that had to do anything to do with the quarterback change or just the continued ineptitude of the offense. Well, the defense went out there in the first half and just played lights out. Didn't allow a single point. Of course, the Bucs score on defense. We go into halftime 7-3. It's a game. But then in the second half, the defense allows four straight scoring drives by the opposing offense. A touchdown, a field goal, a field goal, field goal. 16-0. We got shut out in the second half. And yeah, would the offense with Rattler have eventually found the end zone? I don't know. Those guys seem like as soon as they crossed the 50, just fell apart. It's that plus territory problems that this team seems to continue to have. Do you have plus territory problems? You might want to consult your doctor because this team can get from the 25-yard line to the opponent's 40-yard line, no problem. We always have three or four plays, and we break the 50-yard line and just fall apart. I don't think we got in the red zone once. I didn't really look at the stats. I'll be honest with you. The reason why I'm not doing a reaction to this game is because I didn't watch the whole thing fully. I picked up an extra shift at work and didn't have the chance to watch the game. Usually, when that happens, I'll watch the game in its entirety when I get home. But this team being 1-6 as we were, it's not inspiring. Plus, I'm surrounded by coworkers who told me we got our ass whipped. Now, I predicted 37-6, maybe something like 30-10. Ends up being 23-3. Yeah, you know, could have been worse. It could have been a lot better. I don't know how the offense is going to improve. There are no pieces here that are going to just all of a sudden turn up and do something spectacular. If Foster Moreau gets more involved, if Devon Vele gets more involved, if Devin Neal gets more involved. None of this, if Tyler Shuck comes in and, and what? Is it going to be an improvement over Rattler's production? Probably not. You might see some glimpses of stuff that he could do in the future, but you'll probably see the same amount of mistakes that Rattler's been making in the last couple of games because Shuck's a rookie. So, he's got to go out there and shuck a little bit before he can finally shuck. Okay. So, no, no dream of a season turnaround. As a matter of fact, most of us are kind of excited we have the first overall pick at this point. I don't want the Saints to keep losing. I'd like to see Tyler Shutt go out there and win some of these games. Now, right now, we're 1-7. We got 9 games to go. Let's say Shuck wins 3 out of the last 9. It'll be a hell of a lot more wins than Rattler got us. Slightly easier schedule. I'm not going to say that the first half of this season was versus world beaters. That's not the truth. The truth is we had one of the easiest schedules in the league. And it was a rough patch in the beginning, and it's going to get easier at the end, but you're also going to suffer more injuries and you're going to have a less of a team here toward the end. So, yeah, I don't expect Shuck to shine if he starts and plays the rest of the year. 9 games, it's enough of a sample size for me to be content. I don't know if we're going to have all the information. We're not going to have all the information, but we're going to have enough information to know what to do when the draft comes next year because we're going to have a high pick. We're going to be in position for a franchise quarterback. So maybe Shuck shows something. What happens if he goes 3-6 and he manages to complete some deep passes? He manages to show some touch and can layer between the linebacker and the safety. And we see, just enough out of him where, hey, yeah, we can go ahead and roll with this. I mean, if it fails, we still got Rattler on the team, and we know what he can do when he's focused. He doesn't turn the ball over. So, is this the year to draft a quarterback? That's another question. So, subscribe to Rosenfield 10. I'm going to be doing a mock draft today, as a matter of fact, and I'm also going to be doing them throughout the rest of the year into next year. I'm not into this covering the games, breaking down the stats, talking about the ebb and flow and everything else. I can give you broad strokes since I didn't watch the whole game completely. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you I did. I watched the first quarter. I watched up and I was able to watch because I was on a break. I was able to watch up until we had that great goal line stand, and then I got in my car to drive to work, and I heard what happened 2 plays later when we throw an interception for a touchdown, and that's when I turned it off. I got to work, heard about the loss later, came back home, watched some highlights, watched some film breakdown, but did not watch the game from beginning to end. Looked at the stats. There you go. Not a lot of y'all are going to waste your time watching these games and thinking we have a chance to win. I mean, I'm assuming if you're a huge Saints fan and you've got everything in the proper perspective, you're watching these games trying to figure out which one of these players is worth keeping. So, like to see a little development. It looks like we're regressing, especially on offense. So, a lot of bad to talk about, not a lot of good. Subscribe, you'll get a fantasy mock draft, and that'll give you something to smile about. And yeah, let's see what happens now that it's Shuck time. Hopefully we don't suck under Shuck. And until the next one, I'll talk to you later. Who dat?